Christopher Nolan's latest movie is a film adapting Homer's epic poem, The Odyssey. The story follows Odysseus after the Trojan War on a journey back home. Now, Oppenheimer was, to me, the best movie of 2023 and rightfully won that Best Picture Academy Award. Following my not so great experience with Tenet, I was so relieved to see Christopher Nolan back in his glory with Oppenheimer. Did The Odyssey reach those same heights? Well, let's talk about it. First, we need to take a moment to appreciate the production value of this film. Nolan is the director who goes the extra mile to make everything practical as possible. Even the more supernatural elements of the film, such as the Cyclops and the Lystrigonians, I think I pronounced that right, were almost fully done practical with the animatronics and stills. Even this whirlpool sequence was done practical using jet skis on water. It makes this fantastical movie feel real as opposed to feeling as fake as possible like the live action one. The music by Ludwig Göransson was also spectacular. It's crazy what he was able to achieve without the usual symphony orchestra and had to rely on ancient instruments on Nolan's request. The cinematography always does not disappoint in a Nolan film, and it is no different here. The performances of these actors were extremely good as well. The highlights, I would say, are Anne Hathaway as Penelope and Robert Pattinson as Antinius. Robert Pattinson in particular exhibits this pompous and snivelly personality, and you forget that this is Robert Pattinson, the guy who played Batman a few years ago, and just want to see him get his ass beat. Matt Damon as the lead was also fantastic, along with the other actors like John Bernthal, Elliot Page, Lupita Nyong'o, Zendaya, and Charlize Theron, who did their little parts well enough. Now, the internet is talking about the two horror-like sequences in this film. I personally thought that there were three such scenes. The scene with the Cyclops was just amazing and loud, and I think was done perfectly. The way the Cyclops is built up and suddenly appears from the dark is just fantastic. But the Cersei scene was on a whole nother level. The scene wasn't just terrifying, it was creepy and almost disturbing to watch. The actress playing Cersei was also incredible, by the way. The other scene I said was the one with Scylla. It was short-lived, but that scene was also a jump scare. Nolan's next film should be horror, if I'm being honest. I personally thought that the way they condensed Homer's epic into a 3-hour film was very well done. It's a big piece of literature and needs to be cut to achieve a certain time limit. And I thought the merging of the Lotus Eaters Island with the captivity of Calypso was really smart. The way this movie portrays the gods was also ingenious. The gods aren't shown, but they are felt. Poseidon by the ocean, Zeus by the lightning, and Athena by the apparitions of the priestess from Troy. Rather than showing us these gods, making the audience feel their presence was a masterclass move from the filmmakers. And also, Agamemnon was aura farming left and right and was really cool. Now, despite all my positives, I was slightly disappointed by this film. What makes Chris Nolan's movies are their endings. Usually it's a plot twist like in The Prestige, or a cliffhanger left open to interpretation like in Interstellar or The Dark Knight Rises. Here, the ending is more complete and rounded, which is nothing wrong, but it did hurt the film's impact, to me at least. The plot twist regarding the sea people wasn't all that great either. Now, when I was complimenting the acting of the film, I didn't mention Tom Holland. Well, because his acting to me was very disappointing. After his amazing performance in Spider-Man No Way Home, I thought he could be amazing at the hands of Christopher Nolan. But even though it worked well for Robert Downey Jr., it did not work for him. His range isn't very well depicted here. He's playing yet another young prince who can't even fight properly. There is one scene in which he demonstrates his great acting talent, specifically the scene in which he meets Menelaus, but that is his best acting in the film. His reunion with Odysseus was also very underwhelming. Now, his performance was not bad, but I expected more as a Tom Holland fan. Also, the R rating of this film was very poorly used. Nothing about this film felt R rated until we came to the third act, where everything started to become very graphic all of a sudden. But the Cyclops scene, the fight with the giants, and even the Antinous' death was handled in a very PG-13 fashion. Nolan really has no idea how to use this rating properly. He needs to get tips from Matt Reeves or someone who has experience working with a rating like this. I had the same issues with Oppenheimer, which really did not need that R rating at all. The movie's non-linear narrative was effective enough to make the story less boring and more engaging, but it was not done as successfully as Nolan's other attempts, such as in Oppenheimer and The Prestige. I don't know what happened, but the nonlinear narrative worked wonders in those films, but only worked just fine here. Still, I'm glad that I went to see this movie on IMAX. This is the first Chris Nolan movie I saw in theaters, and it was worth the wait. That being said, I wanted to say that this movie was a masterpiece, but I came out of the theater being slightly disappointed. But one thing is for sure, Nolan knows how to make a movie. The Odyssey gets a low 8 out of 10.